Are you excited?
Always.
Yo! Welcome back to the Represent Podcast. We're here.
We are.
We're here. I'm with my friend, Mr. Jacob Shelby. What's up, baby?
What's up? What's up?
We're rocking and rolling. It's freezing outside, but
very.
we're nice
better
and-
than 15. Today's like what 30, 36.
It's still stupid though.
Stupid, but
It's stupid,
nice.
but it is what it is. How are you, bro?
I've been good. Life's been rolling. This new year, I'm not like a new year, new me person. I'm like a new year, same me, but the same me is going to change some things that need to be fixed. I'm going to allow God to come into my house, in my heart, and to clean out any closets or rooms that he needs to.
So I guess we're going straight into this because Jake. Okay, perfect. So, okay, I was actually gonna ask because it's still like mid-January.
Yeah.
People are still hopefully invested in their New Year resolutions.
Mm-hmm.
You said New Year, same me,
Mm-hmm.
but you just need some fixing to do.
Mm-hmm. I'm still Jacob Shelby. I'm still the son of the King Most High. But there are things in my life, in my heart, and some of my desires and wants that need to be changed and fixed onto God's. So, yeah.
Just some tweaks. New Year,
Just some tweaks.
You just need some tweaks.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. We talked about how I think last week, and we've talked about before, just how people do have these goals, but rather than setting your own goals and what you want, you should just set your eyes on God and allow him to do whatever it is that he wants to do with your life.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of reminds me of what you're saying is like, I'm just focused on being open to what God wants.
Mm-hmm.
If God wants to fix something, let's fix it, right?
Yeah.
It's a new year. It's just another day, though.
Yeah.
Like, it's just another day that I have to wake up and allow God to do something with me.
Like December 31st was the same thing as January 1st. There's no difference.
Yeah. And I think the New Year's, it gives people that perception of like just fresh slate, clean slate, something new. I can change now.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is we are expecting something different, but we are coming back to the same things.
Yeah.
So we are expecting, I don't want my life to be surrounded by drama anymore, but you're going back in the new year to the same friend group. We want we want to read more and we want to be more productive with our time, but you're laying in bed the same all day long, every day. There was a study during the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
It was like going on for like 16 years at this time.
I think I heard about this.
And there was like 20% of the American soldiers out there were addicted to heroin. They got caught up in drugs and heroin and stuff like that. So the government launched a whole thing to try to help people get off and things like that. And, it was whatever. But what happened was after the war, when all these people came home, only like 3% of these people relapsed. Everyone else was done forever.
Yeah.
And they were like, we didn't really do anything. Like, how'd these people just hop off? It's because, the war was stressful. War was crazy. Things were going on. So they were just doing whatever. It was that change of setting. They changed where they were. They went back to their family. They went back to a loving spot. They changed their whole environment, their whole situation, their whole livelihood. So nothing triggered them to say, oh, I need drugs right now.
Yeah.
They were a whole new being. And I think for our life, we expect something completely different to happen. I'm going to stop smoking. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to do all these things. But we're not changing our environment. We're staying around the same people. We're still doing the same things. We're watching the same videos, listening to the same music, and we're expecting something magical to happen. If these guys would have went home and there was a war in the United States, it would have been the same thing.
Yeah.
But they came back, and it was an entirely different atmosphere. So, like you're saying, December 31st and January 1st are the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It's just another rotation. You have to be the one to physically change what you're doing.
And it's not just like I'm going to wait till next week to start. I'm going to wait. It's like you're in like November or December, and you're like, I'm going to wait till the new year, and I'm going to start fixing myself up. Like, God does not want you waiting, because like none of us ever know when he's going to come back.
Mm-hmm.
He could come back December 31st, right before you decide to change. And I think we look at it so like we look at it weirdly. It's like, how do I say this? Like, why are we waiting to fix ourselves whenever we can fix ourselves and start living that life for God right now, instead of waiting months, weeks, a whole year before we actually start making that change? It would be so harder to make that change whenever you keep on doing the same cycles. Like I said, if you start, like, it's like middle of the year and you're like, I'm going to wait till next year, I'm going to change myself up, but I'm going to keep on doing this right now. Mm-hmm. You're going to keep on getting so addicted to whatever that may be: pornography, lying, lust, smoking, drinking, having sex, like whatever that may be. You keep on doing that same cycle. It's going to be so much harder to get out of it whenever you wait so long. You're like, okay, I'm gonna change then, so I've got a little bit. But no, you're still going through that same cycle, and you're just going to be so caught up, and it's going to be so hard to get out of.
That's bars, dude. Yeah, that's facts. And it's like, I'll start my diet on Monday. Mm-hmm. It's like, bro, if you started today, Monday, it would already be a little bit easier to diet, right?
Yeah.
It's December 30th or it's December 20th, let's say. Like, okay, new year, we're going to implement these plans. Implement those plans now. Mm-hmm. So by January 1st, you know what worked, what didn't work, and you're already a step ahead of where you can go.
Yeah.
And whenever you say, oh, I'm going to start on Monday, this is a personal experience. Mm-hmm. I used to be like, oh, I'll start on Monday. I'll start doing something at the start of this week. Start of the week, I'm busy. I'm doing something Monday. Tuesday comes around, I completely forgot about that goal. Then it's Wednesday, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I planned on doing it this week. I'll do it next week. Mm-hmm. And then it's the same cycle. And then all of a sudden it's New Year's, and you're like, yeah. It's like, bro, you've done nothing because you've just been telling yourself, okay, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to do it now. I'm going to do it now. I'm going to do it now. In our mind, we have to say, hey, I'm going to do this at this time, at this place.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go home, and whenever I go to bed and I wake up, I'm going to read my Bible at 6:45 a.m. At my desk. Like, put it in your brain what you're going to do. Don't say, I'm going to start reading my Bible on Monday. Put it in the schedule, bruh.
Yeah.
Whenever I have free time, I read my Bible. That's not a priority. Say, I'm going to read my Bible at 4 p.m. when I get home from work, at my desk, in my room, right? Like, make it an appointment. If you have a meeting, I got a meeting with John and Susan at this restaurant at this time. We're discussing this. Have that same goal for your life and for God. God and I, I'm praying. Yeah. This time for 5 minutes here.
Yeah.
Make it an appointment.
Yeah, because like one thing I realized in my personal life was I was using my free time to spend time with God. I wasn't making free time to spend time with God. Those are two completely different things. One of them is way more meaningful than the other. Whenever you, drainage. But, so, yeah, like I said, they are two completely different things, and they have two completely different meanings. Well, same meaning, like you're still doing the same thing, but they mean so much more. Whenever I go out on my free time to like, oh, I'm not playing video games right now. Like I'm not hanging out with my friends right now. Now, like I have free time. I'm not doing anything. Let me go read the Word. But instead of, you know what, I'm not going to play video games right now. I'm going to go read. I'm not hanging out with my friends. I'm going to go pray. Or, well, I'm supposed to, but you know what, I'm gonna set that aside for a little bit. I'm going to go do this. And I think that is so important. Like I said, two completely different things. Making free time and spending time with him on your free time. Because like I said, it means so much more. Because whenever you are, like you said, discipline always leads to deliverance. And if you discipline yourself to start making free time, then you will start feeling God so much more, instead of just be like, oh, I'm not busy, I have time for God. And sometimes we get so caught up in this busy life that us scrolling on our phones is busy. Like, and I was actually reading up on this documentary or article or whatever you want to call it, words on a page, about how it is so rare for kids to get bored nowadays because of so much. We have video games. Teenagers, they get cars. We have our phones, the biggest That's probably more addicting than any drug in the world. And phones, they'll really ruin you, bro. They ruin the perception and the way that you see life. Because there are so many things on here that even I've looked at that I should not have. Mm-hmm. Whether that's, porn or whatever it may be. And me being honest, I struggled with that back whenever I was in junior. I struggled with porn and lust, and it completely changes your perception on the way you look at women. And so I'm sure it's probably the same thing for women. It will change your perception on the way that you look at guys. Because I would go look at women and I'd be like, oh yeah, she's fine, But in reality, I should be looking at them like, God created them. She is very beautiful. Instead of, oh yeah, she's bad, like how everybody sees women nowadays. And I just think it's just crazy. It's so hard to wrap my mind around it. And that's why sometimes I even get scared of falling back into lust, because I feel like if I do, I'm going to go back to my old self. And I realize my old self and you've even noticed this, I'm sure, from whenever I was to who I am now, that was like from here to like here. And whether anybody has noticed that, it's something I've noticed, from how bad I was struggling. And that also goes back with the free time. I was only spending God on my free time that I had. And I wasn't making that time. But, yeah.
Jacob had time today. Jacob
I did.
Woke up. He was like, you know what? We getting on the podcast and we just going to flame everybody because they're lame. That was good.
Appreciate it.
Oh, my gosh. That was good. I feel like I just read that out of a book. Stop using your free time. Stop using your free time for God and start making time for God.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Like, you don't make free time to go to work.
Yeah.
You go to work, bro, because it's a priority.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Don't use your free time for God.
Yeah.
Make time for God, and whatever you have afterwards, that's for friends.
Mm-hmm.
That's for things like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bro, and another thing that I would like to bring up is, and I've had none of this planned. I was just like, you know what? Duke was like, plan what you want. I'm like, I'm just going to let God speak.
Mm-hmm. He's speaking. You go, brother. You can talk all day. I don't care.
Hey, so I get this all the time. Or whether people are telling me this or whether I'm hearing it from other people, is why do I not hear God's voice? I'm like, you reading your Bible? You praying? Like, I'm not here to call anybody out or anything, but like I'm just saying, like I genuinely struggled with that. And I remember I would even call you sometimes like, hey Duke, I'm not hearing God's voice, like what am I doing? Like, and think about it like this, which I'm sure some of you have heard this analogy before, but let's say random number calls me. I don't know who it is, like it's no caller ID. And all I hear is, hey baby, how's your day going? I'm be like, oh, that's my mom. Like, oh, hey mom, how you doing? And the reason I know that is because I talk to my mom. I have a relationship with her. I talk to my mom every single day, whether I am with her, whether I'm at my dad's, my grandma's, whether I don't see her for a week. I'm talking to my mom, and I know her so well, and I know her voice. The more time that you spend with God, the more you will realize his voice. It will become so much clearer in your head. And I believe that's discernment. Like, whenever you're asking God, like, hey, God, like, can I hear you? Like, can you give me an answer? Like, because I believe that there are three voices in your head. Yours, God's, and the enemy's. And I think the enemy's and yours kind of tie up together. So it's kind of two, but it's however you want to look at it. But we get so caught up in listening to our own voice and the enemy's voice because it just sounds so much better. Like, hey, God, I want to be with this girl, and you're like, oh, yeah. You're in your mind, you're like, oh, yeah, that's good. Like, she'll be good for me. But then you have a feeling like, oh, maybe she won't be. Like, oh, no, that's just the enemy. Like, God wouldn't want me to do that. Like, and like, it's so crazy to think about it, because you're hearing straight up like, no, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, back up. Like, she's not for you. I have somebody for you, and you were trying to push over the limit. And what some people don't realize is half the people don't even want people for their actual personality. Like, most people want them for the attention, for the love that they're going to give them. And like the Bible says, love never fails. Everybody's always like, oh, if love failed and you don't love me anymore, it was never really love. I hear that so much. It's actually kind of funny. And they're right. But I just think so many people need to start looking at it differently. Like, because they're, like I said, 2, 3 voices, however you want to say. I'll just say 2. 2 voices, God's and the enemy's. And like I said, it is just constantly about praying and reading his word, because this bad boy right here has everything you need to know to get you through life. Mm-hmm. Is this thing confusing? Oh yeah. Like I could probably tell you I've read maybe half of this book. And
that's the Bible, by the way.
That is the Bible. Sorry, I didn't. I've probably read half of that, and there's probably, I'd say 50% I have not understood. But I have went back to things that I haven't understood, and I'm like, oh my gosh, God, like I understand this now. Mm-hmm. And that just comes with growth and constantly being in prayer. Prayer is a lot more powerful than you think, especially whenever you truly mean it. Someone be like, hey, God, Philippians 4:13, give me strength, to get me through this game, like help us win, like come on now. Come on.
Bro, Jacob's on a tear right now.
And I'm not bashing people because
it seems like you're bashing everybody.
I'm really bashing myself here because I did the exact same thing 24/7.
Oh my gosh, bro.
I would be like I would remember before basketball games in like 8th grade, I'd look at that verse and be like, hey God, help me win this game. Like, and then we go and get blown out by Hampshire Finette. Like,
yeah.
And I don't know. I think we also look at verses wrong too. Like whenever we read, and now I kind of feel bad because I'm like,
no, here, like, tell him, bro.
But like, we like misperceive verses. Like we look at them wrong. Mm-hmm. Like we only look at like the first half. And yeah, I don't know. That's kind of really where I'm at right now until something else pops back into my brain.
Bro.
But
okay.
Hope people don't watch this and they're like,
we're just going to have to break all this down because he just put like 5 episodes in one right there. Oh my gosh. You just blew my mind.
Okay. How is that?
All right, how did it start? How did this start off? Okay, you said if a random phone calls you.
I did kind of rant on that.
Random phone number calls you. Mm-hmm. And you answer it. You're like, hello. And it's like, hey, baby, who's this? You know exactly that's your mom. Mm-hmm. Why? Because you know her voice. Mm-hmm. Why? Because you spend every day with her. It doesn't matter that you didn't see her, but you heard her. Mm-hmm. And you knew it was her because you spend time with her throughout your whole life. God is going to be speaking to you through different things. Mm-hmm. It's not always verbal, bro. Yeah. Most of the time it's not. Mm-hmm. He's going to speak through you through different things in your life throughout your day. You're going to know it's him because you spend time with him and you know what he sounds like. Yeah. You know what he looks like. You know what he feels like. And if you walk around life all year long, God's just not speaking. God's not talking. I promise he is. You just can't hear because you're not spending time with him to know that it's him.
Yeah. And I'm not like over here like trying to bash people because I'm really talking about myself, honestly.
Bro,
yeah. I struggled with that. And the thing is, if you think about it, every message is always bashing somebody. Mm-hmm. If you really think about it, because how do I put this? Duke, help me out here. I'm trying to.
If the shoe fits.
Yeah, pretty much.
You just say it, bro. And if someone's offended by it, if you make a statement and someone's like, I think he was talking about me. If the shoe fits, I sure was. As Christians, we can't be like, oh, this pastor stinks. This pastor talk about. But you can say, hey, this is wrong. Mm-hmm. This way of doing things is wrong. This way of living a life is wrong. And I talk about myself 100% of the time because I know what I struggle with. A lot of people struggle with. So if I'm saying these things are wrong, and somebody's like, I feel like he was calling me out. Good. If the shoe fits, fam, wear it.
Yeah, and like the reason I'm saying all this is not because, I'm in everybody else's lives. I'm saying this because it's in struggle. It's in my life. Mm-hmm. Like I struggled with looking at verses the wrong way and only reading the first half that sounded good. Mm-hmm. Like I struggled with looking at things I shouldn't have and misperceiving women the way that I shouldn't, the way that God would not want me to. And if that is calling people out, then like you said, if the shoe fits,
fam. Nah, Jacob woke up this morning. He was looking in the mirror. He said, "Man, it's time to go to work, boy."
But I
He
woke,
said, "We doing business today. They gonna hear me today."
bro. I woke up and I was like, dude. And then I always have this thing where my mind just wants to run. It's the worst thing ever. Like there'll be times where maybe it's like decent, and there's times where it's like, oh my gosh, like, oh God, what do I do here? That actually happened to me this morning, and I was just getting that voice like, don't go on the podcast. Like you're not gonna say anything that's gonna help anyone, and I thought about being like, Duke, maybe
good.
You're not feeling too good. Kind of letting the enemy get to me right now, and I was like, you know what? I have had too many talks with Duke, Gavin, Cole, Caden Foster, Brad. I've had too many talks with them who have helped me.
All of which who have been on this podcast.
Yes. Well, besides Brad. But, I've had too many talks to be like, okay, I'm not going to be able to get through this. Like, I just got to call it off right now. Like, I've went through too many talks with people who have helped me get through it for me to just give up on it now. So.
Moses didn't think he could do it either.
No, he did not.
And he said no like 4 times.
Huh?
He said no like 4 times. He's like, nah. God's like, yeah. He's like, nah. God's like, yeah. And then finally, he did it. And what happened, bruh? We talking about him thousands of years later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's bold of you for just saying, like, this morning, I was not feeling it. I felt like it was a waste of time. I feel like it was going to be bad, but you came up here anyways.
Dude, that's what I was talking about earlier, like those voices in your head. Like that's what it was. I'm not like crazy
it's
or have
enemy,
like
yeah.
I don't have some disease or something. I'm not on drugs or anything, but like the enemy really messes with your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Our mind is a battlefield for the enemy. And there are times where I have let myself vulnerable, let myself open for the enemy to come in. I have not allowed God to come in and just close that door. But instead, I wake up and I'm scrolling on my phone, like I'm playing video games as soon as I wake up, and
idle hands,
huh?
Idle hands are the devil's playground.
Very, that was a little creepy, but
okay. You're scrolling, your mind is open. Mm-hmm. You said your mind starts roaming a lot.
Yeah.
Which, if it's roaming in the good direction, that's great. That's basically what this whole podcast is. Your mind just starts roaming.
Yeah.
But it roams in a bad way a lot because of what you're surrounding yourself with, right? Social media, things like that. How do you stop it?
How do you stop it? What I do, so whenever your mind roams, and I'm going to say something else after this about where I got this from. But whenever my mind is roaming, a good friend of mine said, put everything away, all electronics, stay away from video games, just separate from people and electronics and just go for a walk. And like that has actually helped me so much. Or like what I would do is I'd bring my phone with me on a walk, throw both my AirPods in, put on worship music. And
I do that every day, almost.
Yeah, I actually wake up like whenever I'm getting ready for school, both AirPods in, worship music, Abandon, Benjamin Hastings. It's fire, bro. Anyway, back on topic. But yeah, and what was your question again? Like how to stop that, right?
Yeah, how to stop.
Okay. Sorry. But anyway, so and not just going for a walk, but walking and praying. Because how many times in the Bible do you see where Jesus went out to pray, went on the mountain to pray, did all this? He separated himself from everybody and everything to go sit down and pray. Prayer, like I said, prayer is so powerful whenever you truly mean it. And whenever you are genuinely trying to get out of that situation where the devil is trying to take over your mind, God will help you, because it says ask God to give you strength. But yeah, and who I heard that from was this guy,
really,
right here. Yeah,
I was about to say, because I do that same thing.
Dude, you're the reason that I actually started doing that.
Okay, so I do that like night, like I did it last night at 11:45. Okay, stars are out, moon's out. I'm by the lake, music in my ears, bumping, VU worship is great. That to me is the equivalent of people. Okay, here's what I'll say. It's important to intentionally walk, though. You like to go outside, put worship music on, and walk. Don't just do it. Like you were saying, be intentional about it with a purpose.
Yeah.
God, speak to me. God, let's talk. God, let's handle business. Because if you're just out there walking, that's the equivalent of someone out on a smoke break at work.
Yeah.
They're stressed out. I'm going to go smoke a cigarette real quick.
Yeah.
And guess what? It feels real good until it's gone. And then you go back to work and you're still stressed.
And then you're like, oh my god.
Bro, why do you think a pack of
so
cigarettes
much.
is like $8 right now?
Yeah.
Because people buy it every single day. Because it gives them that temporary satisfaction, but it leaves them empty. So as Christians, don't just try to escape and be like, okay, I'm gonna go take a walk. I'm gonna go take my mind off. I'm gonna go do whatever. Because you're just gonna come back to the same crap, bro.
And they see the temporary satisfaction, but they don't see the long-term effect.
Exactly. You have to, if you're going to go, you have to go spend intentional time with God. Going out on a smoke break, that's not intentional time. That's just, I gotta take a break.
Yeah.
Spending intentional time with God's like, God, this is what I'm dealing with. This is what I'm struggling with. Here it is. I need help. What do I do? Right. It's spending that time with him for that purpose of help. Same goes back to what we started this whole thing off with your habits.
Yeah.
Don't start off the year, don't start off the week or whatever you're trying to do with your habits. Don't start off by saying, okay, I'm going to do this because this feels really good and it's going to be a good way to start it off. No, you have to change. Be intentional about what you're doing. Be intentional about, I'm going to read at this time. I'm going to pray at this time. I'm going to talk to these friends. I'm going to drop them because they're not good for me. And I'm going to surround myself with these people.
Yeah, and speaking of that, I've told you about this. I've done that. It was this one friend, one of my best friends. Like, bro, we were hanging out. It was like 7th grade, 7th grade year. 7th grade was probably like our prime, I'd say. Like, I'll go over to this house every single weekend. Like, I remember I went like 3 weekends in a row, and we had school. So I go over there. And, you know, I'd be having so much fun. Like, it was just so fun hanging out with him. Like, that was genuinely my best friend. But he was pulling me towards things that I should not. And, like, I'm not going to blame him for it, but he, like, brought so much, like, lustful things, like, had me see so much that just completely, like, ruined me. And I was like, and then as soon as I hit my 8th grade year, I was like, I'm done. Like, I didn't tell him that. I just kind of didn't let him back into my life. And I realized, and like we always say, iron sharpens iron. He was not that piece of iron that was trying to sharpen me. He was the wood that was making me dull. And I feel like we have that with so many other people too. Like, so many people make us dull. Because who was it? Was it Tanner that was talking about it? The axe and the wood?
I was talking about that on Wednesday, I think.
No, that was you. Yeah. You know, whenever you have an axe hitting wood, the axe is just going to get dull and start chipping away. But whenever it's like iron and iron, they sharpen each other, it's really weird. But it makes sense. And it's exact same thing with people. My friend was not sharpening me. Instead, he was pulling me away. And then he started getting into like smoking and drinking. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm done. Like,
peace.
No more. And now, like, I haven't talked to him since like, I'll say 8th grade year.
There you go.
But yeah, and removing yourself from people who do not sharpen you is the biggest thing and the biggest step as a Christian you could take.
And it's one of the hardest.
Oh, for sure. It definitely is. Because there were so many times I was like, hey, yo, you trying to hang out? But God's like, hey, yo, you going to go over there and fall into lust? And yeah, it's crazy.
Okay. Yeah, this is my favorite episode in the whole wide world. Okay. A lot of people, let's go back to this friend.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to be like, I'm going to change the way I think. I'm going to change the way I work. I'm going to change my habits, my hang-ups, my whatever. And then the next weekend they're hanging out with that boy.
Yeah.
And then they're wondering 2 months from now, I just can't break this habit. Bro, it's because you're surrounding yourself around people who are not sharpening you.
Yeah.
If you want to change your habits, you have to change your environment.
And sometimes that means isolating yourself. Because, like, with me in school, and I'm not, like, saying everybody in my school, everybody in my grade is like horrible. There's like, but the most people that I know are not people that I want to put myself around to like put me in a situation where it's like gonna pull me away from God. Like I obviously still talk to him. Like I'm friends with everybody. Like I could say this proudly. Like I don't hate a single person. Like there's nobody in the world that I hate. I genuinely love everybody only because there's a point in my life where I realized, you know, Christ really loved me that much. And to think about the pain that he went through, like imagine getting a crown of nails just stabbed into your head, or getting whipped with the, what was it, like cat of nine tails, right? That's what it was. Yeah, where it would like, it wasn't just a whip, it would grab onto his skin and like rip chunks of flesh out. Like imagine that happening to you, and then like halfway to death, and then just being beat and spit on and mocked on, like,
and still forgiving those people.
Exactly. And then as they were killing him, as he was on the cross, one thing I will never forget is he said, I say that like I was there, but like in the Bible, he said, "Forgive them, for they do not know what they do." And you know, some people don't know that they're like bringing you down, but like that's why it says forgiveness is key. And like God says, forgive others as I forgave you. And yeah, and like I said, there's just people like, and like I said, like there may be people that are really good in my grade. It's just people I don't know.
Yeah.
But like as of right now, like I've been isolating myself. Not like being like, oh, get away from me, or like,
and
I'm just gonna
work on you without the influence of the people around you.
Yeah. It's so important to have good people around you, bro. That's probably like the biggest thing.
I think people are so impressionable. We're all Play-Doh.
What do you mean impressionable?
Play-Doh's impressionable.
Oh,
you have a block of Play-Doh.
Yeah.
I press it. It's impressionable. It's gonna do whatever I tell it to do.
Yeah.
We're very impressionable people, especially Gen Zers like ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay. We like to make people laugh. We like to have fun. We like to do whatever and just have a good time. And a lot of that, we like to feed off of the opinions of others, even wise counsel.
Yeah.
Well, they're 40 years old. They're an adult. They have wife and kids. They're a family, and they think this is how I should live my life, and that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Is it? Just because they're older than you, you're just gonna take their?
Yeah.
That's terrible advice, bro.
Yeah.
Like I see so many kids, bro, and so many like college people, and even like 25, 26, 27, who are having like these mentors or people who they look up to, and they're just doing whatever they say.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, these people are like manipulating you.
Yeah.
And even if they're not manipulating you, they're giving you trash advice that is not Bible.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are we doing, bro? And that's the same thing with friends. That's the same thing with parents. That's it, bro. Look at who you are. Look at yourself in the mirror every day and say, this is what I'm going to do today. And this is what the Bible says. So I know that what I'm doing today is what the Bible says.
Yeah.
And if somebody's out here trying to tell me something different, or they're trying to come at me some type of way, they're going to know this is who I am. And you can have opinions on my life. You can say whatever you want. You can think I'm whatever. But this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because I'm Duke Atwell. I'm Jacob Shelby. I am this person. And I understand I'm not going to mesh with you. I understand we're not going to agree on everything. I love you for who you are. But I'm not impressionable today.
Yeah.
Because I'm a block of iron. And I'm rocking with the people who are going to sharpen me. And the people who are going to sharpen me are people who live by the Bible. The problem is the people who live by the Bible feel like there's barely anybody out there who's doing that, right?
Yeah.
So we end up getting caught up with people who are at the church. Oh, well, they go to my church. Of course I'll take their advice. What?
Yeah.
Bro, you know how many clowns I see at church? I'm like, all right, I'm glad you're here. You love Jesus. I'll see you in heaven. Don't ever give anybody advice. Like, you know how many leaders I've told, bro? I've told leaders specifically, hey, I appreciate the work you're doing with these kids, but like let's refrain from like giving your own thoughts on this situation.
Yeah.
Like, because their beliefs, what they're pouring in is their opinion, and they mean well.
Yeah.
But their opinion is not the word of God. So what we start doing is we're living based off what they say and their opinions, and well, that's a good idea and this is a good idea, and then we start going off on this rabbit hole in our life, and we're like, where's God? I've been listening to all these people, wise counsel, and God's like, fam. I'm east, boy.
Yeah.
You went all the way that way.
It's more than just wise counsel. Like it always it tells us to seek wise counsel, and that's always good.
And that's not wise counsel, obviously. It's just we think of it as well, it's wise counsel. That's just old people counsel.
Yeah.
That's
It
crazy,
really
bro.
is. Yeah.
I feel like this episode so far, I think the title is gonna be Christian Rants.
Christian rants.
I feel like we've talked about like 18 different things.
Yeah.
But like, it all goes back to your environment. The habits we talked about,
Yeah.
your environment. Spending time with God, knowing God's voice, spending time with Him, environment. The people you're around, how they impress themselves on you, that's your environment, who you're surrounding yourself with. Your environment is very important. Whenever we walked in the building, you saw all these plants outside were wrapped up because they cannot handle the harsh environment of cold winter.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes we're going to be in situations that we have to be in, like school, like work. We have to be there, but we need to wrap up.
Yeah.
We need to wrap up because
for sure.
it's harsh environments. People hating on us, people who like us, but we should not spend time with them. That girl's cute, but she definitely ain't a woman of God. Right?
Yeah.
We need to wrap up. How are we going to wrap up, Jacob? I don't know. Maybe the armor of God.
Exactly. Gavin actually sent me a video about that the other day.
Gavin's all right. He's honestly been a part of some of my favorite episodes as well.
He's been on 2?
Yeah, he's been a baller. You're going to be on a bunch, though. I already know.
I still got a few years, too. He's got a year and a half.
Well, I mean, hopefully I'm rocking with y'all after as well.
Oh, Gavin? Yeah, he definitely will be.
But, dude, this is going to be crazy. Okay.
Ugh. Yes.
What is, how do we represent Christ in our modern world?
I actually love that question so much. How do we represent Christ in our modern world? What was the question again? No, I'm just kidding.
No way.
No, I'm joking. I do have a pretty bad memory, but it's not that bad. So how do we represent Christ? I always go back to being a light. There is a light that God places inside of you that He has placed inside of me, to go out and sometimes it's not even talking to everybody about Jesus. That's what so many people think it is. Like, I'm so scared to start living for Christ because now I'm going to have to start telling a bunch of people about Jesus in public. Like, it's not about that at all. Sometimes it's just as simple as being a friend and letting somebody know that you love them. And like my sister talked to you about, that one friend she had, like Haley was so worried, oh my gosh, I got to talk to her about Jesus every day. She doesn't, once you, God wants us to plant a seed. And I think that was actually on the verse of the day today. I have to check that because that'd be kind of cool.
Bible app warrior. Dude got to keep his streak alive. What's your Bible app streak? This is how we're going to see if you're a real Christian or not.
Let's play higher or lower.
Okay.
Let's play higher or lower.
Higher or lower, Jacob's Bible app streak. 6 days. Well, you have to give me a number, and I'll say higher or lower. Or wait.
Okay, I'll start. Well, no. Just throw out a number.
Okay.
Just throw out a number.
6.
Higher.
Oh, the way you said higher makes me think it's 18.
Oh, higher.
Wow, dude. My streak's 0. Because I read the real Bible, clowns.
Bro,
imagine.
Pull this out in the middle of English
37.
Class. Higher.
Dang, this boy stay on the app. Okay. 100.
Higher.
You're capping, bro.
I'm not capping.
Okay.
I'll show you after.
Okay. 150.
Higher.
Okay. All right. 225.
Lower.
All right. 185.
A little higher.
190.
Tiny bit higher.
Oh, we're in there. 193.
Slightly lower.
192.
Lower.
191.
191.
That's crazy, fam.
Bro, because sometimes you just can't whip out your Bible in the middle of the hallway and just. I mean, you could, but
that's kind of shallow Christianity, if you ask me. If you don't do that,
dang, dude.
If you're not getting your Bible and throwing it at kids in the middle of the hallway, push them in the locker, stuff them in the locker, put a Bible in them, and then shut it on them. Go get them after lunch.
Dude,
that's how the gospel works.
Those lockers aren't very big. The lockers are not very big.
Oh, Okay.
Anyway, back to the question.
Yeah, whatever you were saying.
Um,
Representing Christ in our modern world.
How do we represent Christ in our modern world? Like I said, just being there for people. It's as simple as that, honestly, or even praying for people. And like I told you, I prayed for that guy at Whataburger. And I don't tell you these things to be like, oh yeah, hey Duke, look at me. I went and prayed for this guy.
It's a cool experience.
Yeah, it's like, and it's a seed, and planting seeds are so fun. Like it is, and why waste a part-time embarrassment for a lifetime of regret? Or like I wouldn't say embarrassment. Yes, it depends on what you're doing. Like, oh, there's a water slide. Like, I want to go on it so bad, but that is so high up. Like, no, I'm good. And I'm like, we left the water park. Like, oh my gosh, dude. Like, I missed out like a whole 30 minutes sitting there.
Why not risk a temporary moment of being nervous
and then wasting it over a lifetime of regret it, like, and I've even done that. Like, there was one time I was on the bus and I really wanted to talk to this girl about Jesus, not because I thought she was attractive or anything, but about Jesus. And I don't even remember who it was, but I knew she didn't hang around the best people. And I was like, you know what, this is my chance. And I'm like, all right, I'm a few stops and I'm getting off. Like, say something. And God's like, all right, you got this, go. I'm like, just need a second. Next stop comes. Like, all right, I'm gonna do it right now. Just, wait, one more second. And now I'm like, God's like, Jacob, you're about to get off. You got one more stop. I'm like, all right. I'm good. I'm about to get off. I don't even got time. I got off the bus and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I remember, I'm pretty sure I called you about that. I was like, I really just like wasted this like 5-minute talk that I was so scared to do, and I'm gonna have a lifetime of regret about it. Because what if God probably put me there for a reason?
He did, bro.
You know, So
I tell everybody, I'm like, bro, y'all playing out here. Y'all think something else is coming up. You're the something else.
Yeah, and like people, I've talked to so many of my friends that have been into college, and like you've talked to them, like they can't find good people out there sometimes, but that just means that they now have to take that bigger step in being that light for others. And college, I hear it's a different life. It's a whole lot different.
Everybody's free.
Yeah.
Yeah, college is interesting because like it really lets you do whatever you want to do. Like you're in high school, you got to be home at a certain time. I mean, most parents hopefully are like, hey, don't do this, do this. In college, bro, you're on your own, bro. You just got to take whatever advice they gave you before and do it. So there's a lot of opportunities for good and a lot of opportunities for bad. Yeah,
and then the verse was 1 Corinthians 3:7. So neither the one who plants nor the one who waters is anything, but only God who makes things grow. And I had to realize that whenever I would like pray for people, talk to people about God, even if they already knew him, like I'd be like, okay, I planted this seed. Like, how do I keep on making it grow? God's like, you're not making it grow. I'm making it grow. I gave you the seed to plant. Now allow me to make it grow because I am the light. I am the nutrients in the soil. I am the water. Allow me to do my work because you started it. Now let me finish this. You're not going to start it, go all the way to the end. I'm going to start it. Now I just want you to be there for them, but allow me to work through you or through that person to make that seed just sprout into that big plant behind you.
And planting the seed ain't always like sexy, bro. Like a lot of us want to reap the harvest. And sometimes you get to, like sometimes you're there whenever like I mean, we go to camp, we go to Disciple Nows, we do whatever with these kids, and that's whenever kids are like, okay, I want to give my life to Jesus.
Yeah.
You think it was a 3-day transition, bro? No, bro. They've been thinking about this for 1.5 years. Because some other person was probably talking about it, and then they started thinking about it, and then finally they're like, all right, I'm ready. The person, I don't even know who planted the seed in some of these kids.
Yeah.
But I got to be there when we reaped the harvest.
Yeah.
And people like to do that because it's like, yeah, look at us, dude. We got like 14 kids saved, bro. Shut up, bro. Okay? That person's great grandma 4 years ago planted the seed.
Yeah.
Okay? God did the work. You just happen to be there when they're there.
My grandma planted. She planted the seed in me.
My grandma planted the seed in me, bro.
If it like, and I'll say this, like, if it was not for my grandma, I would not be where I'm at right now.
Shout out, grandma.
I promise that because, And I'm not saying this like making anybody feel bad for me, but like whenever I lived with my mom, we did not have money, like whatsoever. We didn't have money to go out and buy Nike like this, or buy shoes, or any like name brand stuff. But because of my grandma, I was able to live nicely, like comfortably. And there would be times when my mom like, oh, where, you know, money's kind of hard for food, but we always had a house because of my grandma. And then my grandma was like, Samantha, you need to get these kids into church. And my mom was like, oh, I'm just so busy. And I love my mom because now I've been getting her to come to church.
Yeah.
Well, when she can. But my grandma, she got me, Gavin, Haley, and Miles like all into church. And now we are seeing this big change in every single one of our lives. And I say we are all at different stages, but I think that it is just the beginning. Like, like right now where I'm at, like I know that in a few years I'll probably know so much more than I do now.
Of course.
Because 16? Why am I questioning that, bro? I know I'm 16. I'm 16 and I still have like another 50, 60 years to go. Like, I couldn't imagine, like, how much wisdom I'm going to get. And I realized, like...
And you're going to be a grandpa who then helps a family get in the church.
And another thing I want to talk about real fast is, like, look at yourself now and, like, imagine how you're going to be for your kids. Like, how do you want your kids to be? How would you want to raise them? And I always think about, you know, my parents. I would always say I was raised good, but I would never say I was raised in the Christian household that I should have, or I don't say should have been raised in, but, you know, that I feel like God would have wanted me to. But I think there is a reason that my mom did not have all the money. I think there was a reason that my grandma got us into church. I think there's a reason that my dad probably wasn't in my life at the very beginning.
It all happens for a reason, bro.
Exactly. Yeah, and I always questioned that, like, ever since I got older, like, hey, why are my parents not together?
And you don't see it until you're older and you're like, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I never knew it while I was young. Like, I didn't even really know who my dad was till maybe I was like 8 or 9. Like, I knew of him, but he like wasn't in a very good spot. Like, you know, drugs, women, stuff like that. But now he's cleaned himself up so much. He's got a good, stable job. We're living good. We always got food at the table. And then same thing with my mom. Like, she's been doing really good too. Now my mom, she's been having food at the table every night for the kids. And she's been having a steady job for like 2 years now.
I love your mom and dad.
Yeah, I love my parents very much too.
But like, you don't understand, like we don't understand what's going on whenever we're in it.
Yeah.
Like anybody in the Bible who's going through tough times, they don't see it while they're in it. We're reading about it in the Bible and we're like, bro, because God's doing this and he's flipping the script over there. We know that because we read the verses afterwards.
Yeah.
Like my dad died whenever I was 12, bro. And my mom was in and out of jail.
Yeah.
I was doing foster care stuff. My grandma, shout out grandma, only person really around who is stable.
Always.
My mom and I, we were like sleeping in cars sometimes. We were sleeping at like shelters. We spent 3 New Years in a row in a Motel 6, fam, with roaches, bruh. I was crying every night, fireworks going up, and I was missing out because I missed my dad. It was wild, bruh.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is all this even happening, bro? This don't make no sense. And my grandma was like, Duke, I don't know. And I was like, fam, you got all the answers, and all of a sudden you don't know? She's like, but I do know. Who knows?
Exactly.
And then now I'm 22 years old, and if my dad never passed away, okay, the way my situation was working, my mom goes to jail, I'm with my dad. My dad goes to jail, I'm with my mom. My mom's out, I'm with her.
Yeah.
My dad passes away, my mom goes to jail. I'm in Livingston, Texas, visiting my aunt and uncle. I'm over there for the weekend. My mom goes to jail. Dang, I guess I'll start school here, right? Because I'm here at the beginning of the school year.
Yeah.
All she wrote, fam. Good, Christ-loving, fearing home. Lived there ever since. Then I just moved out, right?
Yeah.
Like, if my dad was around, I would have just been right back with my dad.
Yeah.
Right back in this whole cycle, still in Houston, still doing everything. And if I was in that area would have influenced my life crazy. The reason why I'm here today is because I've been surrounded by people, pastors, family, who love Jesus, who've been on fire for Jesus, who made me into the same person. If I was still stuck in Houston, bro, with all the fam, I got jumped twice in junior high. Kids were like smoking weed on the bus every day. I promise I'm not doing this if I was still there.
Yeah.
looking back, it's easy to say, oh, clearly God had a plan. But while you're in it, and today, bro, I struggle with crap every day. And I'm like, bro, what's going on? 5 years from now, I'll be like, that's what was going on. Yeah. So you just got to trust the process, fam.
Yeah.
Because God's working it all out.
You're never going to know why this is happening. Never. Like, there are even things in my life right now, like, hey, God, why is this happening? And the biggest answer we get is, let me work.
Let me cook.
And I remember, dude, I was just about to say that, bro. I was going to go Pastor Stephen Furtick, Elevation Worship Concert. We went. And his whole sermon, the title of it was, Let Him Cook.
Let him cook, fam.
And I was like, okay, let's see how this goes. Because I heard things about him. I was like, and like how he's not that great. I heard him. I was like, this guy's nice.
Let him cook, fam. Let him cook.
Dude, and he was talking about how Jesus took, I believe it was Simon or whatever you say, out fishing on a day that, well, it was a certain time of day, tides real low, no fish are ever out at this time of day. It's usually at night when the tide's high, and they were in a spot where no fish are really caught. But Jesus said, cast your net. He casted his net. What did he do? He brought up like a whole, like tons of fish, just many, kept casting the net out there. Yeah.
These are fishermen.
Yeah.
It's like, God, I know how to fish, fam. But because you say so, I will.
That, I didn't want to tell the story yet. I remember,
BBYSSIW. But because you say so,
I will.
I will.
Yeah.
Fam, Jesus, I don't even know who you are. All right.
Yeah.
Telling me to cast the net over here. But because you say so, all right.
I will.
He does it. He's like, I'm in now. Shoot.
Yeah.
Right? You don't know what's going on.
Like, bro, you're finna feed my whole, like, community out here.
My whole clan.
Exactly.
The folks. You heard?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I don't even know how long we've been going.
Dude.
Voice crack.
I don't know. It's like what?
We're for sure hopping on another episode.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. This is fun.
In a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then after that, we're going to hop on like 5 more episodes.
Dude, yeah. And I woke up this morning, I was like, dude, what am I going to say? Like, I don't got nothing
You
planned.
see how it works, though?
Yeah, dude. Like, I can't.
I told you. I'm like, bro, you sit down and you start talking, and I promise we'll have 45 minutes.
Yeah, bro, because as soon as I started, you were like,
bro, we started this podcast 2 minutes off. I'm thinking we're about to be like, all right, how's your day been? How's the year been going? What's God been showing you? And this fam's just like, everybody's terrible. He's like, yo, sinners, you're not even reading the Bible right. You're not even doing the right thing. I'm like, all right, I guess we're starting right now. Cool.
No, and like I said, it's not me bashing people. It's like I'm really bashing my old self. And some people are still living in that way.
It's holding people accountable because you know what people are struggling with.
And the reason I say this, it's not to bash people, but it's because I love them. Like, I can tell you right now, there's not a single person that's going to be watching this that I'm not going to love. No matter who it is, no matter what they've done to me, no matter what they've done to people, I'm going to love you because Jesus loved you. Jesus forgave you, so I'm going to forgive you. And like I said, I say all this because I care for people, and I want people to see the light of Christ. I want people to see the right way to live and how to truly follow him. Like I said, I'm not saying like, oh my gosh, you're a bad person. Like, no, like if this person who's sinning is a bad person and this person who living for Christ is a bad person, what different level are they on? Like, God is up here. Every single one of us are down here. Every single person that follows Christ. Like, I remember we did this thing at Choye a few years back where they would put mud in our hands. Some people would get a whole handful. Some people would get a dot. Some people would get like half a handful. And then somebody would represent Jesus at the very front, completely clean. Hands are completely clean. And we'd be like, okay, there's a level like 1 through 10, or I don't remember how we did it, but I know we would stand in a line, and you would put yourself from dirtiest to cleanest, or how close should you be to God? And the people with the less would get close. The people with the most would get far away. But the reality of it is that we are all far away from God. We are all in the same spot. Nobody is, like, you can always know God more than somebody else, but God is never going to put you higher than anybody else because he died for you, but he also died for them. So. Fam.
I
need some chapstick, bro.
Fam. This guy rocks. Jacob, thanks for being on.
Always, dude. Invite me again.
Yeah, You might be on next week. I don't know. Thanks for being on. I would, at the end of every episode, I like to quickly recap everything we talked about. Mm-hmm. However, we talked about 450,000 things. Somehow we've talked about so much, and we talked about all of it in depth. Mm-hmm. So I have no idea what this episode is even going to be called, but it's going to be crazy.
Yeah. Sorry about kind of going off on everything.
That's what this whole thing's about, bro.
Yeah.
That's what it's. You know how many times I talk about how trash Christians be acting sometimes, bro? It's like, this is what this whole thing's for. And it's not to say I'm better than anybody, because anything I do up here, I say it all the time. Mm-hmm. I'm not telling you how to do anything. Yeah. I'm telling you what I've learned. I'm telling you what I see, and I'm just asking questions.
Yeah.
I've just asked you a bunch of questions. You gave your thoughts. I gave my thoughts. You be the decider.
Like I said,
you read the Bible, you decide.
Yeah, and like I said, there are a lot of people who are going through the same stuff that I've been through. I'm just here trying to help and give you what God has given me. The reason I know these things is because I've been through it.
The whole trials.
Exactly.
We're trying to help you not have to go through the whole trials.
Yeah.
Hey, fam, this is where you're at. This is how you get out. Mm-hmm. And this is what I've experienced.
Yeah, and one more thing. I don't want to start going crazy, but if God brings you to it, he will always bring you through it. There is no mountain, there is no storm, there is no raging seas that God is not gonna bring you out of, bro.
That's a wrap.
Let's go.
Represent Podcast. We love you, Jacob. We love you.
Thank you.
Follow us on all socials. We're everywhere. If God brought you to it, he gonna bring you through it.
Hey.
We love y'all. Represent Podcast. We'll see you next time. Every single Tuesday. It's your boy, Jacob.
Yo.
We love you. Peace.